award-winning books. We shall see about that.
Sun and Mood Reads.
Hello everyone, my name is Sun. Welcome to my channel. So today I thought I would share a TBR list that I put together recently. It is the award-winning TBR. So books that have won literary prizes in the past number of years. So Pulitzer Prize for fiction, Women's Prize for fiction, Man Booker Prize, the Miles Franklin Award here in Australia, the Nebula Awards, World Fantasy Awards, all those prestigious awards. Why did I want to create this TBR list, and why do I want to give these books a go? That is a very good question, and it's a question that I've had to ask myself. In the last couple of years, my reading life has consisted exclusively of just reading for pure enjoyment, for no other reason but to enjoy the book. So if I wasn't enjoying the book, I would DNF it. I have been very strict about this because in the past, if I tried to read a book for any other reason but enjoyment, I just got put off reading. But I do feel like I'm kind of moving on from that phase of my reading life. I do feel like I want to not challenge myself. I don't want to use that word challenge because if I use the word challenge, to me that means hard, and hard means I'm going to be put off reading. So not challenge, but I want to open my mind and my heart up to just books that for some reason or another have been given accolades and is critically acclaimed for being influential or for exploring themes that encourage us as humans to think and to learn. I want to give these books a go, particularly the books that have been categorized as literary. I want to give them a go because I have a bit of a mental blockage, a bit of an attitude about literary fiction, that it's about intellectualism, it's about really confronting issues. It's not necessarily about plot or being entertained. So I feel like I'm going to be very intimidated, or I'm not going to understand the story, and therefore am going to be put off. It is a little bit fear-based, I think. But recently I just thought, you know what? I'm 41 years old. Just grow up. Stop being a baby. If you want to give these books a go, give them a go, but maybe switch your attitude, maybe approach these books with a different outlook. And so I started thinking, well, what if I approach these books almost like a curiosity project? So rather than approaching these books and asking the questions, oh, is this going to be hard to understand? Is it going to be intimidating? Am I going to be bored, etc.? Instead, why don't I ask the questions, why do I think this book won this particular award? Why has it been given all these accolades? What makes this book influential? Can I identify these things? Do I agree? Yeah, so my aim is to kind of approach these books with my meta reading hat on. So once I started thinking about it in that way, I was really excited about reading this list. So there's 9 books of different genres. They've won different types of literary awards, and I've handpicked them because I do feel like these ones I probably will connect with, I may enjoy even. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into my award-winning TBR list for 2022. So the first book on my list is one that I just Googled Pulitzer Prize winning books for fiction, and I don't know, for some reason, the cover of this book, the title of this book really appealed to me. And the book is called Less by Andrew Sean Greer. It won the Pulitzer Prize for fiction in 2018. I mean, looking at the cover though, I don't know, there was something about it that appealed to me. It just looked so simple and unassuming, but I feel like it does kind of allude to some interesting things. And when I read the blurb, it immediately sparked my interest. It follows writer Arthur Less while he travels the world on a literary tour to numb his loss of the man he loves. And for me, that's just sounded delightful. It sounded like it was going to be a really funny, probably endearing, warm kind of journey that this character goes on. But it did make me question, like, so why did this win the Pulitzer Prize? It sounds like a kind of like a lot of other maybe contemporary fictions or contemporary romance books. And so I started reading the first few pages and I realized why. I think one of the reasons is the writing itself, is the way this concept, this story, this journey is delivered through Andrew's prose. It's just wonderful and really, really creative and just really quite strong imagery. And even just from the first few pages that I read, I was so intrigued about this Arthur Less character. I'm really curious about this one, and I have a feeling I'm going to enjoy this book. Another award-winning book I'd like to give a go is the winner of the Women's Prize Fiction last year, Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. This one was kind of on my TBR list anyway. It sounds very, very strange and interesting. Magic realism, dreamlike. Doesn't seem very long, so that's good too. But again, curious, why did this win the Women's Prize for Fiction? I'm hypothesizing that it could be just the exposition of this fantastical concept. And yeah, I've yet to hear any kind of negative reactions or reviews about this book. So that's interesting. I very much look forward to reading Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. Another book I want to give a go. I'm laughing because it's a Donna Tartt book, and I don't know why. I've mentioned this before, but for some reason I keep wanting to go back to a Donna Tartt. I've yet to read a Donna Tartt book or finish a Donna Tartt book. I tried reading Secret History and just did not enjoy it because everyone was just so selfish and mean in this story, and it was all kind of dark academia, which is one of my little pet peeves. Yeah, so it just wasn't for me. And then I did last year start reading Goldfinch, which won the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction in 2014. I actually was halfway through it. Why did I stop? Because I was actually enjoying it. It was a very, very wonderful interspersing of the whole mother and son kind of dynamics, exploring themes of grief and how that manifests as you grow up without a mother. I really loved the incorporation of art and just the symbolisms there. I stopped halfway because this is not a spoiler. There's a section in the story where it's set in Las Vegas, and for some reason I just felt like the story just went when it got to that section, and it just became really kind of and just a bit of a slog and just a bit disillusioning. Is that a word? And so I just stopped, but with the intention to get back to it again, but I never did. This book I would like to finish reading. I think the payoff will be great if I do commit and finish it. Another one that's on this award-winning TBR, this is also one that was on my general TBR. I've been meaning to read this one for so long, which is why I've put it on this list as well. It's Jade City by Fonda Lee. It won the World Fantasy Award in 2018. It's the first book of the Greenbone saga. I know that I'm going to enjoy this. I did read like the first few chapters, and I'm getting like really cool gangster, fantastical Hong Kong, jets and sharks and drug world with magical elements, all those kind of things combined. I know I'm going to love it. I will get onto it. Yes, I will. Another book that I'm curious about is The Sympathizer by Viet Nguyen. It won the Pulitzer Prize for 1 year? I can't remember. I'll write it here somewhere. Why do I want to read this one? Because I haven't read a historical fiction about the Vietnam War. And I'm always interested in learning about the Vietnam War. As a teenager in high school, I was obsessed with Vietnam War. The main catalyst for that was music theatre, was because of Miss Saigon, and I started getting into musicals at that time. And so, yeah, just the concept of the Vietnam War was very intriguing for me. And I just remember reading a lot of non-fiction stuff about Vietnam War, but I've never read fiction. Apparently it's in the POV of the Vietnamese people, in particular the North Vietnamese, because I think the central character was a spy for North Vietnam. And I've heard that it's just really well written. There are books out there that are a bit sparse and clinical in the way they write about the Vietnam War, but this one's not like that apparently. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this one. Okay, another book that I am quite excited to read. When I saw this one listed, immediately I was like, I'm going to love this one. It won the Andre Norton Nebula Award for middle grade and young adult fiction in 2020. A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking by T. Kingfisher. How delightful. Like, just that title, the cover, it immediately appealed to me. I know it's going to be a really fun read. And also, just as a general goal this year, I do want to read more middle grade fiction because I am a librarian and I am focused in the children's library because I do the story times and etc. I am recommending books a lot to families, and I reckon about 80% of those books, I haven't read them. So I would like to practice what I preach and actually read some of the series that I'm recommending. So anytime a middle grade fiction stands out for me, I will grab it and give it a go. I'm looking forward to this one. This one sounds delightful. The last two books I want to talk about are Australian books. The first one won the Miles Franklin Award in 2019. It's called Too Much Lip by Melissa Lucashenko. This is one of the books that, as a librarian, when books are being returned and books are being reserved, this one I see all the time. No idea what it was about. And then I saw this pop up on the list of Miles Franklin Awards and I read the blurb and I was like, yes, sold. I really want to read this one. The tone sounds really kind of like a dark humor. But basically it's like a return to your hometown trope story. It centers around a character named Kerry who has, as titled, too much lip. Like, she's very opinionated, she's a wisecrack. Kerry is of Australian Indigenous background and her pop is dying. So she decides to return to her hometown in the Bundjalung country. And this is a place, her hometown, it's a place where she has been avoiding going to most of her adult life. But yeah, so it's, returning home, back to the family, back to the roots. I believe there's a bit of romance in there, which I'm liking the thought of. Even just from the title and the blurb, it's already set up that it is essentially about this character, Kerry, and I'm already intrigued by her. I want to know her. So yeah, looking forward to Too Much Lip by Melissa Lucashenko. Okay, so the last book on my list is a non-fiction book. It is called Phosphorescence by Julia Baird. Baird. This is another book as a librarian that I just see everywhere. It's very active within our catalogue. I just assumed, just from looking at the cover and the title and the fact that it's non-fiction, I thought it was about, bacteria and freaking glowworms and stuff. It is not. I read the blurb and the blurb reads, "This book is an inspiring investigation into how we can find and nurture within ourselves that essential quality of internal happiness, the light within." So it wasn't a sciencey bacteria glowworm book. Although I think glowworms might be mentioned because I think it's looking at the symbolism of phosphorescence within our spirit and our lives, etc. Yeah, I am seeing this book in a new light. Excuse the pun. So yeah, very, very intrigued to read this one as well. So that's it. That's my award-winning TBR for this year. So my aim is to try to read one of these books every month. Yeah, I'm hoping this is the beginning of the breaking down of my mental barriers and blockages and attitudes about literary award-winning books. I'm hoping by taking this TBR on as a curiosity project, I am going to highly enjoy my reading experience of these books. Thanks for joining me today. Let me know what you think about my list and let me know if you have read any of these books and your thoughts on it, please. I hope to see you next time. Bye.
Sun and Moon Rings.